Go Power Rangers!
Oh man, the 90s. What a nostalgia trip we have for you today. Do you remember those Saturday mornings on Fox Kids or racing home after school just to catch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Were you one of the kids who yelled, "It's Morphin time," like your life depended on it? It wasn't just a show. It was karate kicks, rainbow spandex, and giant rubber monsters crashing into after-school chaos. But behind all that action, things got weird. So let's count down 10 weird facts about the OG Power Rangers you probably didn't know. Number 10. Rita Repulsa was dubbed badly, on purpose. So, remember Rita Repulsa? The witch with the pointy hat, bad attitude, and voice that sounded like nails on a chalkboard? Screech, can you hear it? Here's the mind-blowing bit. Her entire performance was dubbed. Rita's footage actually came from the Japanese show Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger, where the villainess was played by Machiko Soga. When Power Rangers adapted that footage for American audiences, they had no choice but to dub over her lines. But here's where it gets wild. They intentionally made the voice shrill and exaggerated. Barbara Goodson, the voice actress, has admitted she wasn't even sure what direction to take until she just went full Banshee mode, and the producers loved it. That explains why every "I'll get you, Power Rangers" felt like it was rattling around inside your skull. It was all part of the campy magic. You're about to find out some even crazier details, so subscribe and like this video to keep enjoying the ride. Number 9. The Black Ranger's missing finger. Ever notice something strange about Zack, the original Black Ranger? If you looked closely, you might have seen that Walter Emmanuel Jones, the actor who played him, was missing the middle finger on his left hand. It wasn't part of the character, and it was never addressed on the show. Jones had lost the finger in a childhood accident. But here's the cool part. He never let it hold him back. He still danced, did martial arts, and fought putty patrols like a champ. Most kids watching never even noticed, because when you're busting out hip-hop keto moves and riding in a mastodon Zord, who's checking for fingers? It's one of those tiny details that makes you realize how much dedication the cast brought to their roles, even when the production wasn't exactly Hollywood blockbuster quality. Number 8. The Yellow Ranger's missing skirt. Okay, so this one's a costume oddity that sparks a lot of "wait, what?" moments when fans rewatch the show. Ever notice how the Pink Ranger, Kimberly, wears a skirt over her spandex, but Trini, the Yellow Ranger, doesn't? That wasn't some fashion choice. It was a leftover from Zyuranger. In the Japanese series, the Yellow Ranger wasn't female at all. It was a male character named Boy. When Power Rangers adapted the footage, they simply swapped in Tui Trang as Trini, but kept all the existing fight scenes. That meant they didn't bother with a skirt for the Yellow Ranger's costume. So yeah, if you've ever noticed Trini throwing punches with a distinctly masculine body frame during fight scenes, you're not crazy. It was literally a guy in the suit half the time. Power Rangers, accidentally gender bending on weekday afternoons since 1993. Number 7. The actors made almost no money. This one stings a little. As massive as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was, it was everywhere in the 90s. Toys, Halloween costumes, even a McDonald's tie-in. You'd think the actors were rolling in cash. But nope! The original cast was paid shockingly little. We're talking a few $100s per week. No residuals, no royalties, and no cut of the merchandise sales. Remember, this was a franchise that made billions in toy revenue. And the people actually in the suits? They were struggling to make rent. It got so bad that some of the cast, including Austin St. John, Jason, Walter Emmanuel Jones, Zack, and Tui Trang, Trini, eventually walked off the show in the middle of season 2 during a contract dispute. The producers just replaced them with new Rangers and hoped kids wouldn't care. Spoiler, we noticed, and fans are still salty about it decades later. Number 6. The Blue Ranger was bullied behind the scenes. Now, this one's less quirky trivia and more, wow, that's messed up. David Yost, who played Billy the Blue Ranger, was actually bullied behind the scenes by crew members because of his sexuality. Yost has since spoken out about the hostile environment he dealt with, saying he was mocked on set until he finally quit during the 4th season. He even walked off production in the middle of an episode and never came back. It's heartbreaking, especially since Billy was the brains of the team and a total fan favorite. For years, kids looked up to him as the relatable nerd who could still hold his own in a fight. Thankfully, Yost has since reconnected with the fandom, appearing at conventions and even reprising his role in special Power Rangers reunions. Still, it's one of those reminders that the behind-the-scenes world wasn't always as heroic as the on-screen action. If you're yet to subscribe, there's no better time than now. Number 5. The infamous Green Ranger candle plot was actually super dark. Now, if you grew up watching Power Rangers, you probably remember that intense storyline about Tommy, the Green Ranger, losing his powers. Remember the mystical green candle, that glowing stick of wax that somehow held the entire fate of Tommy's Ranger abilities? Well, here's the thing. That storyline wasn't just made up in the writer's room. It was actually adapted from Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger, the Japanese show that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers borrowed its fight footage from. In the original Japanese version, the Green Ranger character wasn't just in danger of losing his powers, he was literally doomed to die when the candle burned out. Yup. No second chances, no power transfer storyline, straight up death. The American writers thought that was way too dark for Saturday morning TV, so instead of Tommy dying, they softened it into him losing his powers, and later coming back as the White Ranger. Basically, the US version gave kids hope, while the Japanese version was like, sorry, the Green Ranger is toast. Still, even with the toned-down version, kids were traumatized. That candle gave more anxiety than most horror movies. Playgrounds were filled with heated debates about whether Tommy was really gone for good. For a kids' show, that was heavy. Proof that sometimes Power Rangers went way deeper than anyone expected. Number 4. The Megazord was literally made of toy footage. Okay, so you know how the Power Rangers would call on their Dinozords, and then they'd come together to form the almighty Megazord? Epic, right? The kind of scene that made kids everywhere slam their toys together in the living room. Well, here's the crazy part. A lot of that iconic footage was toys. Yep. The Japanese production team behind Zyuranger didn't always have the budget for full-sized robot models, so sometimes they'd literally film toy-sized Megazord models in miniature sets to make them look huge. That meant some of the epic giant robot battles were basically glorified action figure commercials. And when the footage got imported into the US version, those toy-sized shots made it straight into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Which means if you look closely during some episodes, you can actually see when it's just a plastic model stomping around. It didn't matter though. For kids in the 90s, those moments were jaw-dropping. The Megazord could have been made of Legos, and we still would have screamed, "It's Morphin' time" at the top of our lungs. Number 3. The Gold Ranger's identity was a mystery. Back in the Power Rangers Zeo era, fans were losing their minds over one big question. Who the heck is the Gold Ranger? Unlike the other Rangers, who were introduced up front, the Gold Ranger showed up shrouded in mystery, literally. For weeks, the show teased audiences with epic battle scenes, but kept the true identity hidden behind glowing effects and careful camera angles. Speculation went wild. Some kids swore it had to be Billy, the original Blue Ranger, finally returning to action. Others were convinced it was a brand new character, or even a crossover surprise. The writers leaned into the suspense, dangling the reveal like the ultimate Saturday morning cliffhanger. When the mask finally came off, it turned out to be Trey of Triforia. Not one guy, but a literal alien who existed as 3 brothers sharing one Ranger power. It was a twist nobody saw coming, and while it wasn't Billy, to the heartbreak of a lot of fans, it gave the Power Rangers Zeo one of the most dramatic big reveals in Power Rangers history. That whole arc cemented the Gold Ranger as one of the most iconic and mysterious introductions in the franchise. Number 2. Rita Repulsa was found in a space dumpster. It sounds like the setup for a bad joke, but it's 100% true. The very first villain the Power Rangers ever faced, Rita Repulsa, was introduced by crawling out of a giant space dumpster. In the premiere episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers back in 1993, astronauts stumble upon this weird-looking container on the moon. They crack it open, and boom! Out comes Rita and her army of goons, ready to conquer Earth. It's campy, it's weird, and yet it instantly set the tone for the entire series. Rita wasn't some sleek sci-fi villain. She was loud, over the top, and her origin being tied to literal cosmic garbage only made her more memorable. What's wild is that this footage was actually lifted straight from the Japanese series Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger, where the villain Bandora, Rita's original version, had the exact same dumpster debut. So yeah, the entire 30-year legacy of Power Rangers chaos basically started because somebody opened the wrong space trash can. Number 1. The show was almost canceled before it even aired. And here we are, number 1, the weirdest fact of all. Believe it or not, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers almost never made it to air. Yep, the show that launched a billion-dollar franchise was nearly scrapped before kids even got to see it. So back in the early 90s, Haim Saban, the producer who brought Power Rangers to America, had been trying to sell the idea for years. He pitched it to multiple networks, and everyone turned him down. Executives thought the show was too weird, too violent for kids, or just plain too confusing with the spliced Japanese footage. It wasn't until Fox Kids head Margaret Loesch took a chance on it that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers finally got greenlit. But even then, the network didn't have much faith. They expected it to flop. In fact, the pilot episode sat on the shelf for a while because they weren't sure if it would even work. Then, boom. The first episode aired in 1993, and overnight, Power Rangers became a phenomenon. Ratings went through the roof, toys flew off the shelves, and suddenly, this weird little show was one of the biggest hits of the decade. It just goes to show. Sometimes the things everyone doubts are the ones that change pop culture forever. If Margaret Loesch hadn't taken that risk, the world might never have known about Zordon, Rita Repulsa, or the phrase, "It's Morphin' Time." And there you have it, 10 weird, wild, and totally unforgettable facts about the original Power Rangers. From toy-sized Megazords to missing skirts, from candles of doom to dumpster villains. The show was stranger than any of us realized as kids. But maybe that's the magic. Power Rangers wasn't polished, it was scrappy, chaotic, and somehow became one of the most beloved franchises of the 90s. So tell us, which of these weird facts blew your mind the most? Right now you feel all fuzzy and nostalgic, yeah? For this feeling to last forever, you have to hit the like and subscribe button. Because with Box Set and Chill, the 80s and 90s never end.